Game starts with d4 knight f6. The game begins with the queen's pawn opening, where white pushes the d-pawn to squares and black replies with knight to f6. c4 e6. Black responds with the Indian defense, specifically the Nimzowitsch variation. Knight to f3. Bishop b4 check. This move is characteristic of the Bogo-Indian defense. Bishop d to queen e7. g3. b takes d to check. Queen takes d to knight c6. Black develops the knight to c6, getting both his knights out for play. Knight c3 d5. Black continues to develop, opening up lines for the bishop and preparing to challenge white's central control with d5 break. Bishop goes to g to d takes c4. Black captures on c4, gaining a pawn and creating an isolated pawn on d4 for white. Both sides castle kingside, ensuring the safety of their kings. e4. Rook b8. Black prepares to expand on the queen side with b8, while white advances in the center. Rook fe1. Rook d8. Both players are increasing the pressure on the center. Black's rooks are now centralized, and white's pieces are well placed. Rook a to d1. b5. Black continues with the pawn expansion on the queen side. a3 a5. Black keeps up the pressure on white's center and prepares for potential piece play on the a file. Knight d5. e takes d5. White sacrifices a knight temporarily with knight d5, aiming to create complications. Black accepts the sacrifice with e takes d5. e takes d5. Queen d6. Black had to move his queen from the harm's way and white captures the white knight on c6. b4. Black continues to push pawns aggressively on the queen side, gaining space. Knight e5. Bishop e6. Black develops the bishop to an active square. A takes b4. Queen takes b4. Q takes queen on b4. A takes queen in return. d5. Knight takes d5. Black captures the pawn on d5. Knight takes c4. King f8. Black develops the king, preparing to activate the rook. h3. Rook a8. Both sides improve their piece activity. Black's rook is now on an open file. Rook a1. b3. White challenges black's rook. Black's b-pawn advances, restricting white's options on the queen side. K. Knight e5. r takes a1. r takes a1. King e7. Black improves the king's position and prepares to centralize the king. Rook a7. King d6. Black's king marches toward the center. Knight moves to c4 to give a check. King goes to c5. Black continues to centralize the king and puts pressure on white's pieces. Knight d to knight f6. Black's knight maneuvers to a better square, increasing piece coordination. Knight e4 check. Knight takes e4. Black exchanges knights, further simplifying and maintaining the material advantage. B takes e4. Rook d1 check. Black's rook becomes active and targets white's king. King g2. King d6. Black centralizes the king and prepares for further piece activity. Rook a8. King e5. Black's king is now on an aggressive square, putting pressure on white's position. King f3. Rook e1. Rook a5 check. King to d6. Black's king retreats slightly. g4 h6. Both sides make pawn moves, improving pawn structure. Rook b5. Bishop c4. Black's bishop attacks the rook. Rook b4. King c5. Black maintains the pressure on white's pieces. Rook b7. King d6. Rook b4. Bishop e6. Black's pieces are coordinating well, targeting white's weaknesses. Rook d4 check. King e5. Black continues to centralize the king and put pressure on white's position. Rook b4 g5. Black improves the pawn structure and restricts white's options. Rook b5 check. King d4. Black's king moves toward the center and the threat of rook to b4 is looming. Rook b4 check bishop c4 to block the check. Rook a4 king c5 rook a7 king d6. Both sides make a series of moves, improving their positions. Rook a4 bishop e to check. Black's bishop moves in to maintains the pressure. King g3 bishop b5 black's bishop attacks white's rook, increasing the pressure. Rook d4 check king c5 white's rook retreats and gives a check and black moves the king away attacking white's rook. Rook d5 check king to b6 rook d4 rook g1 check black's rook checks the king, applying more pressure. King f3 rook h1 black's rook becomes active, targeting white's weaknesses. King g3 rook c1 king f3 bishop c4 black maintains the pressure and targets white's weaknesses. King e3 king c5 black's king moves to a safer square and the pressure remains on white. Rook d7 rook e1 check black continues to apply pressure, attacking white's pieces. King f3 king b6 black's king moves to a safer square and the position remains advantageous. Rook d4 bishop e6 black's bishop retreats, still maintaining a strong position. Rook b4 check king c5 white's rook becomes active, but black's position remains superior. Rook b7 king d6 both sides make moves to improve their positions. Rook b4 rook h1 black's rook continues to target white's weaknesses. Rook d2 check king e5 black centralize the king, maintaining a strong position. With black having a significant material advantage and a strong position, white resigned. The game showcased excellent pawn play and piece coordination by black, as well as the exploitation of white's weaknesses. Praggnananda played a precise and aggressive game to secure the victory.